All right, Baruch Hashem, we have the schus to actually to make the most meaning, Be'ezrat Hashem, out of this day today, and hopefully have the next few weeks. And I'm sure you feel the same, that when it comes to slichas, on days like today, or even slichas Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, something turns off over here. I don't know, something just turns off, right? This morning, when we started slichas, I was asking Hashem, please let something jump out instead of turning off. Let something turn on. And there was a startling word over there, when it says over there, B'shivase b'tamuz nisrefa haTorah. Did you notice that? B'shivase b'tamuz nisrefa haTorah. And we know that the Mishnah tells us about a bunch of things that actually did happen on Shivase b'tamuz nisrefa haTorah. We always really, think of this tkufa as this period that we're going towards Tisha B'Av. It's all about Yerushalayim, the walls, the siege, the whole pain that happens with the churban, destruction of the bait. But if we know that if when Chazal tell us what the pain was, what the onish was, we also know already right then and there what the tikkun has to be as well. We learn what the tikkun is based on what the pain was, right? So if the pain was and the onish was the Torah was burnt, that means the Torah has to be burnt now in our hearts with fire, with holy fire. And obviously it's true for every single day of the year. But specifically now, as we're trying right now to tune into these days, we could spend time now in the next 3 weeks learning about what caused the Churban. And I think we've been spending years discussing what caused the Churban. And it's almost as if we could keep on saying the same answer of what's the answer? Why was the Beis HaMikdash destroyed? When we say the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, what do we usually say? Sinas Chinam. So it's amazing. Who here doesn't know that answer? Everyone knows that answer. Children know that answer. The Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of Sinat Chinam. And therefore, so now, so today, and it's amazing how every single year we ask ourselves, so have we gotten any closer, any farther, right? This year you're going to be seeing probably tons of articles, today, next few days, talking about how we haven't learned anything. Look at today, how much Sinas Chinam there is in Am Yisrael. But part of those articles will be, and you see those rabbis, and like half the article talking about Sinas Chinam, and its tikkun will be bashing rabbis. This is just like the nature of how these articles will come out now. You understand what I'm saying? Well, there'll be like very deep, articulate pieces saying, bringing proof that we're still so far from everything and whatnot, and how much we have to work on this Indian of Sinas Chinam and Ahavat Yisrael. And at the same token, they'll put all the blame on one group of people that represent Yiddishkeit. They'll bash rabbis for a while, and then, move on. So I don't really want to talk about what happened and Sinas Chinam and how to avoid it. I want to focus on one thing. And that is the mitzvah of Ahavat Yisrael, which is an actual mitzvah. It's not just a nice thing to do. It's an actual mitzvah. Just like there's a mitzvah to keep Shabbos, so there's a mitzvah of Ahavat Yisrael. So one of the things we'll be doing is, there's a beautiful Derech Mitzvah Secha. This sefer is a book by the third Lubavitch Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson I, the Tzemach Tzedek of Lubavitch, and he goes through a bunch of mitzvahs here into the depth of the mitzvah, deciphering it, explaining it, and we're gonna one of the things we're gonna be doing is learning the mitzvah, the actual mitzvah of Ahavat Yisrael, and what we're gonna be seeing it through though is through all different ways, all different angles. But there's something very important that we're going to be touching upon today. And it's that it's not stam that the Torah gave us a commandment to love. Because if the Torah gives you a commandment to love, it means you need to be pushed to do it. Whereas we look at the concept of love, and we feel that it's much more if I have it, I have it. If I don't have it, I don't want to fake it. And here the Torah says, look, you want to use that same way of looking at every mitzvah. If I feel like keeping Shabbos, I'll keep it. If I'm not feeling it, I shouldn't keep Shabbos. So obviously, when he knows it comes to Shabbos, I wouldn't dare, chas v'shalom, not keep Shabbos if I'm not feeling it. Imagine, taras ha-mishpacha. Sometimes we feel it, sometimes we don't. And God wants me to be real. However, when it comes to the mitzvah of Ahavat Yisrael, I give myself the what's that? Yeah, it's like when it comes to Ahavat Yisrael, that's already one that I'm not so, that's not, whatever. If one day I get there, I'll get there. If we want to do any holy work during the period of the 3 weeks for real, is that we really have to put a lot of energy into understanding what the Torah meant when it told us about loving Yidden. What does that really, really mean? L'ma'aseh, on an action level, on an actual level. So one of the things we're going to be seeing today, and I apologize that you see my toner ran out in the middle of the printing, but we'll be able to get through it, B'ezrat Hashem, is we're going to be looking through this very wonderful book that I found from Chabad, and the opening page of the Pticha, V'ahavta L'reacha Kamocha, we're going to start this journey, so that during the time that we're going to be supposedly supposed to be experiencing mourning, we're not focusing on the mourning. We have to do that anyway. On a Lamaisa level, what we're going to be focusing on is how do we build Dafka now. And we're going to be built through the mitzvah of Ahavat Yisrael, through the mitzvah of it. And I also want all the learning we're doing for the next few weeks to be Leilui Nishmas, our dear friend's son, who was just killed last week in Hebron. Leilui Nishmas David ben Shimon ve'Esther. Eli, you made it? You found it? Okay. So first, let's go to the Torah itself. Where's the mitzvah in the Torah itself? Does the Torah say, Ve'ahavta et Am Yisrael? It doesn't say that. So what does it say? So it says, Lo tisna et achicha bilvavcha. You shouldn't hate your brother in your heart. And we'll be getting into that, why the Torah Dafka has to tell us, don't hate your brother in your heart. Hochech tochiach et amitecha. You should do tochecha, which means rebuke. V'lo tisa alav chet. Don't hold a chet upon him. The other pasuk is Lo tikom ve'lo titor et bnei amecha ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha ani Hashem. Lo tikom ve'lo titor. Lo tikom means nekama, revenge. Lo titor means holding a grudge. Remember the famous example of Lo titor, netira, is if someone asks you to borrow something, and the day before, you asked them and they said no, so even when they ask you the next day, even when you give it to them, and you do say yes, you're still not supposed to say, even though you didn't do this for me, look at me, I'm still doing it for you. Now, it's not just something you're not supposed to say in your mouth. It's something you're not supposed to feel in your heart. It's one thing to feel like, look what kind of tzaddik I am. I actually didn't remind them that I'm better than them. Right? But if that's what you're thinking, it could be that you're really still having a big problem with netira, with lo titor. Lo tikom ve'lo titor et bnei amecha ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha ani Hashem. And that obviously, that pasuk is so big. The Yerushalmi says, ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Rabbi Akiva Omer zeu klal gadol b'Torah. Okay, these are things we know. It's like so amazing. We could repeat these psukim day and night, day and night, day and night. But how much of those things are mamish is the way that we lead our lives? Like, stop yourself right now and go to yesterday and ask yourself, where did the pasuk ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha show up in my life yesterday? Something I know. But where was it yesterday in my life? Where was it this morning in my davening? So one of the things we'll be learning a beautiful piece from in Chabad. If I asked you, where did it show up in your davening today? Well, if we were Lubavitchers, we'd say, what do you mean? We started davening by saying, Areini mikabel alai, mitzvah sashesh v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. And we have those reminders when you walk into our shul on both sides. But this concept of Ahavta L'reacha Kamocha, where did it show up in my life yesterday? Can anyone spot a moment that yesterday that pasuk was part of their life? That it was something, chai v'kam, you ate kosher, you davened in a minyan, or didn't daven in a minyan, but you probably put on tefillin. You said brachas, you probably washed before bread, you probably did a lot of things. But where did the concept of Ahavta L'reacha Kamocha play a role in your life yesterday? So does anyone want to share a moment that they remember that it actually had any significance in their day yesterday? Pretty spooky, no?
Sort of named my kid Akiva so that it would be front and center.
That's why you named your kid Akiva.
It's one of the reasons.
Okay, you're exempt. That's good. You're good. But you see how weird this is? If one of the most crucial mitzvahs we have is Ve'ahavta Lecha Kamocha, do you see how much emphasis we put on all these other things which label us and define us as good Orthodox Jews? Because I could ask you, tell me something you did yesterday that will label you as a good, God-fearing Orthodox Jew.
What is the mitzvah of Ahavat Yisrael?
That's what we're doing here.
The Sefer Panayafo, saying thank you to somebody, like you could have spent your whole day filled with it, we just don't.
Exactly. This shir and these shirim are to raise the awareness and the consciousness of what is that mitzvah bichlal. We can't give an answer because we don't even know what the mitzvah really is. I can't just say, I love Jews, go help someone with a flat tire. That's just chesed, that's just something nice to do. That's a good thing. That means you're human. You're acting in accordance with human nature, but hopefully. But what is the mitzvah of Ahavat Yisrael? You see, there's certain things we're scared to admit that we really have no idea what it means because this is something we definitely should have had under our belt by now. I mean, come on, we're practicing Orthodox Judaism for so many years. We're too embarrassed to admit that we don't even know what this one is. You know?
It's not part of the system.
So they're right. It's not, because even the system says, for sure your parents told you how this one works, right?
The knots on your tzitzis are nice and tight.
As long as those knots are tight on your tzitzis, that is really, yeah.
I don't know how much you want to open up this conversation, but I mean...
Welcome to the chabura, yeah.
But when this topic usually comes up, it's usually... When I bring it up in conversation, it's usually met with hitnagdut of that's robed in kedusha, trying to like protect what's holy, and it's like in order to protect what's holy, you have to like shut out or like guard ourselves from X, Y, and Z. Then there's a fine line between protecting and like actually that leading to a negative feeling towards another.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to say it diplomatically. But
no, I hear what you're saying.
Like that.
No, that's if you go to many areas, they say, look, our ahava, our love can only be expressed in a very safe environment. So we have to have all these things that protect us. But then I think we got so caught up in the protection methods as opposed to let's just feel safe in our hearts for a second and trust our hearts that, or trust our mahalach that we're going to love and it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Look, many of us, why don't we really love people? Why don't we? It's not because we don't like them. It's just because we walk around just defense mechanisms all day long. We're walking around just protecting ourselves, sheltering ourselves all day long from thinking that we're going to get hurt from someone. So part of understanding this mitzvah of Ahavat Yisrael is learning how to trust Yidden, is learning how to trust ourselves amongst Yidden. Yeah, Eli.
I was thinking, I don't know if it's exactly right. I was walking through the Rosh Hashanah's neighborhood. On Shabbos, I'm at the store. He's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, shorts, right? He's walking through this neighborhood, which is kind of, it's not the kind of clothes you see in the neighborhood.
Right.
He says, let's go visit the Rosh Hashanah. Shabbos. This is going to be interesting.
Right.
I said, all right, got to put him here. Here we go. So I walked in with him, and everywhere we opened the door, all eyes, of course.
Go right on him, yeah.
Right? But Moshe's was over, and he sits us down right next to him. That was the end of it all. It all just dissolved.
And it wasn't even a thing afterwards.
Completely dissolved.
That's the highest. It wasn't even a thing. Okay, now look at the Rambam. This is usually when you want to begin to understand what the mitzvahs are in the Torah, you go to the Rambam first, then you go into the other halachic works. But the Rambam was like the first to kind of take the mitzvahs and give it to us on this platter of saying this is what it means. So look at the Rambam does in Mishnah Torah, the Rambam, Hilchos Deos. And you'll probably say, I know this, but I'm going to ask you again, so where did this show up in your life yesterday? Or where is it going to show up in your life today? Mitzvah al kol adam le'ov et kol echad ve'echad miYisrael kegufo. There's a mitzvah. It's not a nice thing. It's not a Hasidic twist. It's not a Kabbalistic phenomena to do this. It's a mitzvah on every single person to love everyone in Am Yisrael kegufo, like it's his own body. Shneimar ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, kamocha, like yourself. Lefichach tzarich lesaper b'shivcho, you must speak good and praise other Jews. Ve'lachus al mamono, and to also have rachmanis on his money, not to cheat anyone out of anything. Don't ever, ever, ever think that you can make an easy buck on the cheshbon of another yid. Why? Kasher uchas al mamon atzmo. Just like you'd want to make sure that you yourself wouldn't get messed up in any kind of money ordeal. So too with any other Jew, never. Ve'rotzeh bichvod atzmo. And just like you'd want your own self-dignity and kavod, so too that's how it needs to be seen by someone else as well, looking at someone else as well. V'amitkabed biklon chavero. Now this is a big one. This is like, and look what Rambam says. It's so big. V'amitkabed biklon. You know what a klon is? The shame, the busha, the embarrassment. Chavero ein lo chelek laolam haba. You have no share in the world to come. If there's any type of you feeling more bigger due to another yid's shame. Ein lo chelek l'olam haba. When you see another Jew embarrassed and losing his status of any form of kavod that he had, and that makes you feel dignified in the smallest amount, the Rambam says, you're out. You don't get it. You have no chelik in olam haba. Those are very heavy words. So now let's think about it. What could be the scenario that someone would have mitkabed biklon chavero?
Anyone in politics.
Absolutely. Now, what kind of politics?
So you're running for this seat and this seat, and this guy has a video comes out and it's like, mom, it's unbelievable. He's like, yes, now I have more cover, I'm going to win.
Like when Tzipi Livni pulled out the video on you.
That's one example.
Right.
I don't want to say she's not going to do
I shouldn't have said that. She has a lot of zchuyot. She loves Eretz Yisrael in her way. Yes, today Shiva B'Tammuz. She loves Eretz Yisrael. No, you said yeah. She loves Eretz Yisrael. No, but you're right. But that's easy, right? That's easy to say in politics. So that's why I said which politics. You think that when certain shuls hear that another shul's Rav just got caught with embezzlement and everything, they're all sitting there so sad that other shul's membership's going to go down and they're going to get more members? Hamitkabed biklon chavero. Do you have any simcha at all in your heart when you hear that another Jew's life was just filled with shame and embarrassment? Dangerous stuff. Dangerous stuff.
I think there's much more basic examples.
Yeah.
Regular life.
Yeah. So that's what we're here talking about. So let's talk about that. What in regular life? Did anyone ever get really happy when someone else started making a lot of money? Like that, did you actually start feeling really happy when someone else started making a lot of money? And then did you ever feel a little bit more better about yourself when someone else stopped making a lot of money or started making less money? Right. What else? Mitkabed biklon chavero. What else is in? It could be anything.
You're in public and you best somebody in an argument and you say, and
Right.
the guy is made him
Right. Whenever you win an argument in public, or even in private, there's an Indian there of, it makes me feel good that this guy was just put to shame. But if my focus is on emes, right, then whether I'm right or he's wrong, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change what's happening inside of me. So then the Rambam continues and he says, Kol hasoneh echad miYisrael belibo over belo ta'aseh, shneimar lo tisna et achicha bilvavecha. If there's any Jew that you hate in your heart, then you're over this mitzvah of lo tisna et achicha bilvavecha. Any Jew. That's a big thing to take on. That I have to make sure that this mitzvah, that I won't be over, that I won't chas v'shalom fall into of not hating a Jew in my heart. Any Jew. Now we're saying right now, yeah, that's something that I'm really big on, and I don't hate any Jew in my heart. But the truth is, if you have anything to do with social media, you hate people. You definitely hate someone. You definitely probably hate someone in your heart from all the input of negative words that have been said about other Jews. From or non-from, it doesn't matter.
That's a good question, right? I do a lot of stuff on social media, and JVP, people in JVP make me crazy.
Yeah.
These people are, they're doing horrible things to Amish. And I really have a hard time separating between the individuals involved and what they're doing.
Right.
It's really, really
Yeah,
hard.
good luck. There's like, there's not, I mean, I can tell you this since every single morning before you go in for 45 minutes, do a chalukah in your mind, right? Do a chalukah in your mind. This is not them. This is not them. But at the Maisa, when they force you to feel like that's rubbing into you, we all do. We hold resentment towards those people that took us down. And then it's hard to differentiate by saying, it's not them, it's not them. You know?
We talked the other day, we asked, is there a red line that a yid crosses where you say, I can't hold on anymore?
To what? I can't hold on to what? To loving? Well, he's saying just first make sure, before you say you could love them, first make sure you don't hate them in your heart. So regarding red lines about is it okay to hate a Jew in your heart?
Can you love and hate someone at the same time?
You can. Should you? No.
No.
Can you? Yeah. Of course you can. But should you? Never. No. We could give a lot of twists on this. The pshat is no. You can't hate a yid in your heart. Now again, what does that mean? We're trying to figure this out from the outside. We're going to spend time learning this in the inside. Because I'm sure there are a lot of moments that we feel very justified and holy by hating certain individuals who are like vimin, who are like poison in Am Yisrael. But hating them has never really helped.
So you have to classify them as certifiably insane and just leave it at that? I mean, what do you do with it? I mean,
With who?
yeah, I mean, I don't want to. It's not that you want to hate them, but there's these people are. Some people are certifiably insane.
Right.
And just what you said, poison, big time
Poison.
big time. So how do you deal with that?
Would you hate someone?
No, I wouldn't hate them, but
Okay, so
I would
good.
classify them as
Okay.
something else, but I'm not sure what classification I'm looking for here.
I don't know. They might say the same thing about you, about us.
Well, I'm sure they do.
Right. I mean, they look at us sometimes and say like, you guys are mamish, and like when I explain to someone my drive home from Jerusalem, what we have to go through, right? We're so used to it already, right? 99.9% of the world, and probably 95% of Jews in the world, would think that we're insane for the way we live here, even driving, the way we live here, with what's around us over here. So, I don't know.
This is tough.
But does it make, so let me ask you a question. If you need to do that in order to not hate someone, can you?
Sure.
And then is it really out of your heart?
Yeah, I don't think it's a hatred at all.
I would even start from there.
I'm not sure what hatred is necessarily, but I don't think it's a hatred.
Okay.
Not with me.
Okay. What's that? That's pretty good. Yeah. That's a very high mila.
Judging by the benefit of the doubt, even if you need to contrive a story about why they have this certain klipa, isn't that
Yeah.
like the
That's part of it. Yeah. I mean, that's more of a Rebbe Nachman, a Zamra, like looking for the good points, and sure. Sure.
That's to how to neutralize it. Yeah.
Right.
Going to what Ellie was saying, if someone's actually doing harm to us as a nation,
Right.
and even more so Jew, there must be an emotion you could feel towards this person. Pity,
Right.
maybe not hate.
Pity and compassion
But
are high,
What's the real harm going on? Like his
Well-
actions are causing harm on us.
So out of love to them, you wage war, but not out of hate. Out of real love for Am Yisrael, you're clear that this is poison, what's happening, what they're doing to Am Yisrael. Just yesterday, I read an article, I saw something that Rabbi Grossman from Migdal Emek? Rabbi Grossman is a man of love and of peace. If you know anything about him, have you ever met him? Right, he is a tzaddik. You've heard of him. He's amazing. Jeremy, you ever meet him? Amazing, amazing. Some of the highest moments on stage that I've had has been when he comes up at these big events and he sings and he dances Am Yisrael Chai. Amazing. He yesterday, I saw that at one of these gatherings, I forget what it was. He said that we more or less need to counter right now an organization that's causing poison throughout Am Yisrael, an organization called Hillel. Hillel is an organization that's there for that kind of like it's for Chozrim B'Sheila. It's like to open the door for all those who are not sure they want to check out a Frumkeit or not, to just be there for them and continue to open the door for them and show that it's really okay and whatnot. Now, Rabbi Grossman, that's what you're saying? Even Ohave Hashem Sinura, the Torah, we say in Kabbalah Shabbat. If you really love Hashem, you have to hate the bad that people are doing, but not the people themselves. You have to hate the bad that they're doing, but to hate the people themselves, chas v'shalom. How is what we're going to be discussing over here. There's not going to be classes that tell us to see really everyone is wonderful and everyone's doing great work in the world. We live in a world where that's not true. But the question is, how can I hate what someone's doing and not hate them? If we can master that, I think we got the whole world in our hands. We got the whole world in our hands. Mamish, the whole world in our hands.
Does this only relate to Jews?
This is the mitzvah called Ahavat Yisrael. Yeah. Yeah. And the Torah says, Lo tisnat achicha. When we say achicha, we're referring to whoever is your brother from your nation. Yeah. Do you want it to be also non-Jews?
No. I think it's okay to hate non-Jews.
Chas v'shalom. Yeah.
There's Nazis, if there's whatever, there's enemies of the Jewish people. It's okay to hate them.
Yeah, but you also have traitors within Am Yisrael, so what do you do with that? Do you hate them? Nachon? Vayishalu ishet re'ehu. I think it says over there, yeah. Okay, so now look at what it says down here. Now we're gonna take what we started right now and kind of bring it a little bit clearer over here. Okay. Anashim. This is the guy that's writing this chibur right now. Anashim biychut tzeirim, people, mainly young people, regilim lityaches la'ahava betor davar spontani bilvad. The youth usually they relate to the concept of love as this davar spontani, as a spontaneous thing, right? Regesh chazak shmemalet alev kach pitom, this incredibly powerful emotion that fills the heart out of nowhere. It could also completely dissolve and disappear as fast as it suddenly showed up in the heart. This thing called love. Right? When you look at this, from this glance, o shata ohev, o shata lo. Either you love, or you don't. And then one of the two. או שתייחס את מצוות אהבת ישראל רק אל הסביבה הקרובה, אותה אתה אוהב ממילא. Either you take the mitzvah of Am Yisrael, of loving Am Yisrael, and you say it's applicable just to my close surrounding, who I already love anyway. או שתקפליג אל כלל ישראל רחוק, or you go out and sailing towards the greater concept of Am Yisrael, who are very far from you, ואותו תאהב, and you love them, מבלי קשר לאנשים שאתה פוגש באוטובוס ומכולת. Without that having any tachlis relevance to the people you meet on the bus, people you meet in the market. What is he saying over here? You could take the concept of, well, if it's in me, I love, but that might not have anything. You could feel like you're a lover of Am Yisrael, and that could have nothing to do with who you come in contact every single day. Or you just say, you know what, I love those that I know, and I just keep it in a very close circuit over here. Don't just worry about, who I live with in my community. But he's saying over here, well, I'll just finish over here. He says, "Hameshutaf lishtei afsharuyot." What's common amongst, what's similar with both of these possibilities, hu choser ha'itmodedut im hakoshi le'ehov you're not mitmoded. How do you say mitmoded? You're not dealing with the fact that loving is hard. It's an avoda. It's something that it's work. Love is work. To love, it takes effort. It takes work. Ohavim o shelo v'zehu. But usually we say, look, it's either in me or it's not in me. That's not something I'm going to work on. To get up for Shachris, that's hard for me, but I know that will define me as someone who's committed. And that's hard work, getting up every morning. That I'm willing to work on. Because that I could see, that's something that's, it'll prove to me that it's there, it's worth it also. But this concept of love is a feeling. If it comes to me, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And we're kind of okay with that. Here he's saying over here, you're missing the point. When the Torah says there's a commandment, that means there's work to be done in order to fulfill the commandment. It's not if I'm feeling it great and if I'm not. But it's so hard for us because of the world we live in, the modern world that we live in, that love is something that doesn't not necessarily naturally exist. Love is work.
How do we define love? What does that mean?
This is what we're here for. This is what we're busy doing in this chabura. How do we define love? You have to show up tomorrow. Or the next day, meaning, but he's saying over here, before we start saying what's what, let's just say things what they're at. Love, and the reason the Torah says it's a commandment, is because love is work. It's something, it's avoda. It's something you need to work on. Im neisher mabat el ahava, if we look right at love, nir'eh ki be'etzem kol ahava retzinit kshura le'amal. We'll see that every type of serious love has to do with amelut, with work. Afilu ben chaverim krovim yesh regei mashber vekoshi. Even amongst very close friends, there are moments of mashberim, of crisis between friends. Ve'az haspontanit mafnat mekoma le'ahava bogeret. And then that concept you had of love as being something spontaneous, it must now move out of the way for ahava bogeret, for a more mature concept of love. Obviously, anyone that's been married for more than a day knows that this is something that happens all the time, right? You don't work on yourself to love the person you choose to marry. It's more a spontaneous thing that happens, and then the moment you get married, if you're just going to bank on spontaneous moments of feeling the love, you're out of there. You're out of there. A more mature concept of love is what needs to kind of be that which is running the show. Ahava shemitkayemet mitoch chashiva u'ma'amatz. Love that exists from a place of thinking and of ma'amatz, of effort. Mitzvah Ahavat Yisrael, the mitzvah of Ahavat Yisrael. He kodem kol mitzvah. Before you talk about love, remember, it's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah. וכמו כל המצוות, and like all the mitzvahs, אנו נדרשים לעמול כדי לקיים אותה. We need to work in order to make it real, to keep it. הקדוש ברוך הוא מצווה אותנו לאהוב, ממש לאהוב, את היהודים שסביבנו, שונים ומשונים ככל יהיו. God wants us to love, to really love all Jews that we're surrounded by, as weird, like he says over here, as weird and as peculiar as they might seem to you. As wacky, and I'm going to say, and as straight as they look to you too. Because amongst our chaver to say, as weird as they look, that's like, okay, that's me, that's you, that's all of us. Here he's saying, no. As I think he's saying here, as straight as they are as well. As boring and as shallow as their concepts of Yiddishkeit might be to you, that's who you gotta love. The fact that we love each other when we're dancing on Friday night is it's beautiful. But the guy that's not dancing, right? Instead of looking at him and thinking, look how he's ruining the Jewish people, like at that moment to love him even more, wow, that's the mitzvah of Ahavat Yisrael. To love the guy that's with you on your trip, it's a nice thing, it's beautiful, and it's part of the mitzvah. That's great. That's not really, though, what's going to avoid another Churban Beis HaMikdash. It's dafka loving that person that you already you have a whole book written about the guy and how much his narrow-minded concepts of God drive you crazy. It's him you gotta love. אהבה כזו נוצרת מתוך עבודה. How do you love someone like that? Get to work. וכן זאת אהבה. This is what love is. אהבה שנרחשת מתוך עמל. Now look what he says here. This is really important. Love that is nirchash, that is acquired from a place of amal, of work, mishtareshet amok amok betoch halev. That's the kind of love that gets rooted deep, deep in the heart. Ve'ofechet im hazman, and with time, it becomes chelek bilti nifrad min ha'ishiyut. It becomes part of your personality that is it's an inseparable part of your personality. He's saying over here, the kind of love that really lasts and that goes into your bones is the love that was worked for, that was blood, sweat, and tears. That kind of love. The love that at first, the loving to someone that at first it didn't seem like him and I have anything in common. It's going to be hard to love that guy. But it's amazing. The love that already exists, that's not something that's really going to become inseparable part of your personality. That which was worked for, that which was cried over, that's the kind of love that becomes part of your blood. Ha'avoda al ha'ava, the work on the love. V'haficha shela lechelek meitanu matchila belimud. So Itamar, what is love? How do you love? Where does it come from? How do you do it? Matchila belimud. You need to start with learning. You have to learn what the Torah says about love. What is love? It only starts from there. If you want it to be something that lasts forever, you got to learn what it is. Ahava hi regesh. Love is a feeling, it's an emotion. Aval kedei le'atzmiach ota betochenu. But in order to have it grow within us, aleinu lilmod ule'ayen b'mashmauta. We have to learn and spend time seeking what its meaning is. Like this is interesting. I'll go around the room right now, and at the risk of this reminding me of a song I liked in the 90s, I'll ask the question, what is love? Right? So you'll each give, what will you give? You'll give an answer based on what? What will your answer be based on? Probably. If you say, besides that, right? But no, it'll be something based on an emotion that I've felt in my life that has brought me to think that what I feel is love, right? So if I say, what's love? What would be a nice politically correct answer? Anything. Throw out something. What is love?
The feeling you get
when you're served breakfast in bed, or right? That feeling you get or love is trust. What else? Love is
when I care less about being right and having the other person be heard.
What is love? Next. What is love? Empathy. What's love? Passion. What's love?
Putting someone else's needs first.
Beautiful. What else? What is love?
Action.
Definitely. Dove, what's love?
Forgiveness.
Big time. What else? What is love? Jeremy? Giving. Kobe, what's love?
Relationships.
Itamar?
Acceptance.
Acceptance. Big stuff. David? You're going to say acceptance. It's fine. You can still say it again. We need more acceptance. Thomas, what's love, man? Oh, okay. So we go to the captain brings us back to what we just said right now. What is love? You need to go to Hashem to understand what love is. Everything we said here, is it right or wrong? For sure it's right. But that's not, even though we know that these things are right, are we affectionate people that are giving and accepting and putting other people's needs and being okay with me not being right or being wrong? Or whatever? Those are all things that are right. But how do we take all those things that we know to be right and make them chai v'kayim in us? Is by learning. Is by learning Dvar Hashem. What does Hashem say about love? What do the tzaddikim say about love? And that's work. That's work. My print ran out. So I'll just read for you from here. Only one of you has it on the back of his page. It's the magic page that I actually wrote it. I don't know, whoever's lucky. You can.
Oh, yeah.
Of course he has it. So Rav Kook says like this, and we'll end with this for today. Ahavat Yisrael, loving Am Yisrael, ve'ha'avoda shel hasanegoria al haklal, and the love over, how do you say sanegoria? Sanegor, defendant, right? And the love over being a defendant over the klal, to be able to judge favorably, this, right? Ve'ala pratim, and also on details. Einena rak avoda harikshit levada. It's not just an emotional thing, that if I'm in touch with my emotions, it's enough for me. That my emotions are in tune, then that's enough for me, right? So much more than just being emotionally in touch with myself. Ki im miktsua gadol b'Torah. This is you know what a miktsua is? Like, a profession. Ma miktsua shelcha? You're asked when you're like, what do you do? Ma miktsua shelcha? What's your profession? He says to do this is a huge profession in the Torah. Ve'chokhma amuka rechava, and a deep and wide wisdom, rabat ha'anafim, that has many, many branches. So Rav Kook is saying over here that loving, like this inyan of loving Yidden, it's like you can't just become an electrician. You got to learn. You can't just become a doctor. You got to go to medical school. You can't just become anything. There's no such thing. But just like you can't just become those people, you need to become someone that knows how to love. It's a work. It's avoda. Now, fill in the blank. In order to become someone that loves Am Yisrael and that loves to judge people favorably, you need to become a, what would you say?
Defender.
How do you become? In order to become a defender, you need to become a part of it. In order to become consistent, you need to become what? A chassid. I had you guys fooled. What's the Baal Shem Tov? What's his whole thing? What's his whole thing? Did people not love before the Baal Shem Tov? Of course they did. The whole thing of the Baal Shem HaKadosh, his whole inyan, his whole thing was saying, you guys are all going to take on a profession. And what you're going to see, many people are going to tell you, being able to recite 15 chapters of Shulchan Aruch back and forth is what shows your consistency, is what shows your wisdom. Baal Shem Tov comes and says, I'm sorry guys, it's the ikar of all ikarim is Ahavat Yisrael, but the way to get there is an avoda. It's amelus. You think a lot of the Hasidic Rebbes that are sitting on our shelves here, when they came to Baal Shem Tov, they were like that, so it just felt like, oh, I'm naturally pulled to him. Let me go hear his Torahs. We're talking about some of the most stingiest figures that ever existed, that transformed themselves into people that are true lovers of Israel, thus becoming inseparable parts of their personality, only because it was something they worked on.
What's the word? Learning or doing?
We'll see. It's work. Well, it starts, he says, matchil belimud. We have to start and learn inside, what does it mean? What is the love? To learn it based on how the tzaddikim brought it down. But first it starts from learning.
Makes sense. I mean, if I were going to be an electrician, I first got to sit down and do circuitry.
And then exactly. And then I go out and put things in the, I might electrocute myself a few times on the way, right? But that's the only way I'll get to finally being able to make a buck or two in the profession. It's a profession. Love, the kind of love that we want to last, is work. What the world did with the concept of love, and how much unfortunately, most of us that grew up in the States or in any modern society took that concept and said, either you feel it or you don't. And that's the snake. It's mamish the snake. Because it's actually absolutely lahefech. If you feel it, that's nice. If you don't feel it, that still has nothing to do with Do you want to go to med school? Lahavdil. Do you want to go? Yeah, do you want to go here? And this is what Rav Kook was saying over here. This work is a mikzoah gadol. This is a profession. I wonder, I really wonder. We look at Rav Kook. I wonder what he was like before. I'm sure, naturally, I'm sure he grew up with certain qualities, but obviously he's the master of love, right? So I wonder, though, what parts of him, he really, mamish, had to, cry over and fine tune. I always tell you guys stories about Rabbi Shlomo. In the early years, the guy had no patience. When he was in yeshiva, he had no patience for people that weren't, holding. I told you at one time he saw his chavrusa talking to a girl that was wearing short sleeves, and he wouldn't learn with him for a month. Yeah. Karlbach. Him. In fact, sometimes, this is a very interesting thing, that's like the Gemara cup, when he was learning, when he was really learning those 48 hours a day, like he said, so he was much younger, as before he was with the hippies and everything. So at a certain point in House Love and Prayer in San Francisco, the hippies were asking him to learn, can you start teaching us Gemara too? And we have these incredible recordings of him teaching them Gemara Brachas and Gemara Shabbos. It's amazing. It's amazing. But what happened to his head is that he went back to what he was like when he was younger, right? So then in the middle, fire. So in the middle, one of the hippies asked a very basic but shallow question about a bracha, and he snapped back at her, what do you mean? You don't understand what Tosfos is saying? Or something like that. It's wait a second. This person doesn't even know who Tosfos is, right? What's Tosfos? What's Rashi? What's Gemara? What does Shas mean? But it's amazing. He went back into that zone of what it was, that charifut. How do you say charif?
Spicy.
Yeah, sharp. Yeah, that sharpness. Love is a kinyan. Love is an acquisition. We know it in our own lives with our wives. And Bezrat Hashem, with the future, we all know that the love, and even with kids, do you want to be a father that loves his kids because he just loves them, or you go inside with the work of understanding love through the eyes of Hashem, to have that love that you have for your child be something absolutely inseparable from you. Don't be under the illusion that you have it already just because you have a child. Don't be under the illusion that you have the love because your marriage lasted for 25 years. Not the love we're talking about. And this is the loving Yidden that should be the focus all year long, but specifically what we're going to be focusing on during the 3 weeks, Bezrat Hashem. We'll continue tomorrow morning. All right? Bezrat Hashem. Yishar Koach, everyone.